Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking on a mountain that's absolutely wrapped in mystery and, let's be honest, a whole lot of viral misinformation. Mount Kailash. It's one of those places that has totally captured our imagination, spawning these incredible stories about supernatural forces and cosmic secrets. It really kicked off with claims just like this one. This came from a Russian doctor, Ernst Moldashev, way back in 1999. I mean, this wild story of climbers literally aging to death, it went everywhere. It became a huge part of the whole Kailash myth. But the question is any of it true?
And that's really the big question we're digging into today. Is there some invisible force field, a time machine, or is the answer something else entirely? Okay, let's dive in and start separating the cold hard facts from the fiction.
Now, before we can even start to tackle the myths, we really have to understand why this mountain is so important to literally billions of people. Its power might not be supernatural, but believe me, it is profound. So, just looking at the geography, this place is already a standout. It's actually a lot shorter than Everest, but its shape, this almost perfect four-sided pyramid, is incredibly rare for a natural mountain. And geologically, it's a youngster compared to the rest of the Himalayas, forming much, much later. But its physical strangeness is really only half the story. What truly makes Kailash unique is its immense religious importance. And it's not just for one faith, but for four. For Hindus, it's the home of Lord Shiva. For Buddhists, the Buddha Chakrasamvara. For Jains, it's where their first great leader found enlightenment. And for the ancient Bon religion, it's the actual axis mundi, the spot connecting heaven and earth. And if that wasn't enough to add to the mystique, right at the foot of the mountain, you've got these two lakes. They are sitting right next to each other in the exact same environment, yet they are polar opposites. And this is where you can really see that duality everyone talks about. Lake Mansarovar is this beautiful, vibrant freshwater lake, just teeming with fish and plants. But then, just a stone's throw away, you have Rakshas Tal, a barren, completely lifeless saltwater lake. Now, there's actually a pretty cool scientific reason for this. Rakshas Tal is what's called an endorheic basin. Basically, it has no outlet. So water flows in, evaporates, but leaves all the salts and minerals behind, getting saltier and saltier over the centuries. So, with an incredible natural and cultural backdrop like that, it's pretty easy to see how some wild myths might start to pop up. So let's do it. Let's investigate the most popular claims one by one. Okay, this is the big one. This is a story you've probably heard, that time itself gets warped on the mountain. The claim is that just a few hours on Kailash is like weeks in the outside world, making your hair and nails grow at this crazy accelerated rate. But the reality? Well, it's much more grounded in science. Those physical effects people report, the headaches, the confusion, they're classic symptoms of severe altitude sickness. And that story about the Siberian climbers? It is completely made up. There are no names, no records, no death certificates, nothing. In fact, the Russian Mountaineering Federation has officially gone on record saying no such expedition ever even took place. And this part is absolutely crucial. Almost all of these myths, when you trace them back, lead to one single person, Dr. Moldashev. And he wasn't a physicist, he wasn't a geologist, he was an eye surgeon who was pretty well known for making sensationalist claims. This is a guy who also claimed he found Dracula's underground castle and that he believed in vampires and mermaids. So, that context is pretty important here. And he didn't stop there. Another one of his big claims was that the mountain's perfect shape was proof that it wasn't natural at all, but that it was built by some ancient, super advanced civilization. But geologists have a really clear explanation for this. That shape is called a horn, and it happens when glaciers carve away at a mountain from all sides during an ice age. It's a totally natural process, and we see other incredible examples of it around the world, like the super famous Matterhorn in the Swiss Alps. All right, next myth. This one has that conspiracy theory vibe. It suggests there's a kind of supernatural design to where Kailash is placed on the globe, using the number 6666 to connect it to other famous sites and even the Earth's poles. But here's the thing. When you actually get a map and check the distances, the numbers just don't add up. Yeah, they're kind of close, which is enough to sound impressive if you don't look too hard, but they are not exact. It's a classic case of seeing a pattern that isn't really there. The so-called perfect math just falls apart as soon as you check it. Okay, so if it's not supernatural forces stopping people, if it's not a time warp or a secret pyramid, What is the real reason no one has ever stood on the summit of Mount Kailash?
The real answer isn't in some ancient myth, it's actually in very recent history. Back in 1985, arguably the greatest mountaineer of all time, Reinhold Messner, was given permission by China to climb it. And he refused, out of respect. Then, in 2001, a Spanish team got a permit, and the international backlash from religious groups, from mountaineers, from everyone was so massive that the Chinese government caved and issued a permanent official ban on climbing the mountain. And the words of Reinhold Messner himself, the one person most qualified to climb it, they just capture the feeling perfectly. He basically said, look, conquering this mountain means conquering something in people's souls. He knew this wasn't about a physical challenge, it was about respecting a sacred symbol.
And that feeling, that idea of respect, leads us to what I think is the true miracle of Mount Kailash. And it's way more inspiring than any of the myths. Just think about it for a second. As a species, we are conquerors. We've explored the deepest parts of the ocean, we've climbed the highest mountains on Earth, we have literally walked on the moon. Pushing boundaries is just what we do. And yet, this one mountain, which isn't even close to being the most difficult climb in the world, remains untouched. And not because we can't, but because we all, collectively, have agreed that we shouldn't. And that right there is the real wonder. It isn't some mysterious energy field or a time warp. It's a moment of collective human consensus. It's a global agreement to leave a sacred place alone, out of a sense of shared respect. So that leaves us with this really profound question to think about. In our relentless strive to achieve and to conquer, what can we learn from the one great challenge we all chose to walk away from? Mount Kailash teaches us something powerful. It stands there, silent, as this incredible reminder that sometimes the ultimate expression of our humanity isn't found in what we conquer, but in what we choose to revere.